So we're in the little Zoe, and of course, you know, I was trying to get my hands on the new Renault ZOE van, and of course it's that popular at the moment, and the demonstrators, we can't get one till the new year. And I thought, well, what we can do and how can we get around that? Well, actually, obviously, you know, we're looking at the little car instead, and we're trying to give you a feel, because this intrinsically is the same type of vehicle. So let's take it for a spin, and we're going to try and put some power into it, and we'll keep you posted on how we move forward with it. But looking forward to something very different, and of course it's back to our electric conversation. So that's that. Let's push that, see what happens there. As usual, me, nothing. There we go. We've got some power on, and we're in to go. That's it. So we're off. There we go. And you know, as always, these things are really quick. This one seems to have a little bit of a. It's not as flamboyant perhaps as some of the other electric vehicles I've driven, but it's just brilliantly laid out. You know, I have to say, WLTP on this is 230 miles. We fully charged it a couple of times now, and it runs out at around 180 on the clock. But we'll see. And we're getting, you know, I think we've been driving this for a few days now, and before I was allowed to get my hands on it to give it a bit of a test, and we probably are going to get there, you know, so it's pretty decent, you know, and I think from a little commercial vehicle point of view, and of course this vehicle's been around for some time now. They've upgraded the battery, so you've got a 50 kilowatt hour battery in this vehicle, which is pretty immense, you know, for a tiny vehicle. On a commercial side, I mean, on a commercial vehicle point, it's got a 400 kilo payload. Yeah, it's pretty good. Little van, service van, round town, you know, Manchester, London, 200 miles of range plus. What's not to like? You can upgrade this to a DC charging perspective. So again, you can put a 50 kilowatt charger through this. Do you need to at 200 miles or 200 miles plus? I'm not sure you do. So on board charging at 7 kilowatts, it's okay. Overnight charging, good to go again. Really good. CapEx, something in around about 21 grand or so for a little van. I think it's probably enough money at that. I think that's probably the downside of this. But technology, it's moved on. This is a good van. Electric, loads to go, silent. It's limited in its acceleration, which I think is a good thing. They're getting the most out of the batteries, and of course with Renault, they've been developing electric vehicles now for many years, and they've really, I think they've done a good job with this, and we're going to show the van when I get my hands on one. But I really did want to talk about the size and the scope and the availability of this type of vehicle while I had the opportunity. And of course, as you know, on Prohire TruckTV, we try and show and talk about everything and all the things that are alternative fuel electric or CO2 beneficial. And I guess with this, for me, having a commercial vehicle this size that you could use every day, I love the idea of it. I just love the idea of it. And for me, I guess there is nothing that you would get greater pleasure off of running some of these zero-emission vehicles in your fleet. And I think the world has got to think about how they can transform, and certainly in the UK, how they can transform some of their normal operating vehicles into something that has quiet, silent, you know, runs really well, really clean, and of course zero emission. And we're on the motorway here now. You know, 50 miles an hour. It's just as pleasant. It's clean, and it's quite smooth as well back in the electric piece. So let's take it for another run, and we'll see how we go on. Hi, so what we've done now is we've pulled into
Limb service station and to see how we can make this vehicle charge up. We've actually used a fair bit of power now, and for those who've not tried the electric super highway, as it were, I'm going to try and give you an indication of how this kind of works from a starting point of view. Now, of course, again, we're showcasing this as the little ZOE car, which is a pretty special thing. But of course, this is now available in commercial vehicle offering, of course, which is available from Prohire on contract hire. But you might want to know how to get some juice into it, especially if you're on the road. And as I said before, one of the great things about this little vehicle is it will take both AC and DC charging, which, to be fair, vehicles this size generally don't. 7 kilowatt charging is your maximum. This will take on AC 22 kilowatt and 50 kilowatt DC charging. So you can charge a 50 kilowatt battery in 45 minutes. So it really makes this a really usable piece of equipment. So let's have a look. So basically, I didn't turn it off, so you have to turn it off, of course, and then you get into your charging points. Now, as I said before, this is pretty special. You know, AC and DC charging on a vehicle, you know, the size of an egg cup, you know, which is pretty special. You know, I'm really pleased with that. So again, you're going to see these up and down the motorway, and then they're very different to your Tesla power stations and so on and so on. These are going to become very much something you'll see everywhere. And of course, you've got to see how we work. So how we roll with this, you pick up, you choose what you want to do. On this occasion, we're going to take the AC charging. It'll be slightly cheaper. So dash it in, plug in, and now of course you now have to try and pay. And one of the things that you find with a lot of this stuff is there's no money involved. So of course what we need to do with this is you download the app, you put the app into your phone and follow the instructions. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes, which of course we've done before, and we're ready to go. You put your credit card details in, set up your account, push the button. It literally takes 3 to 4 minutes to do, and it tells you you're going to pay 30 pence a kilowatt hour. Now of course 30 pence a kilowatt hour is a motorway services price for electricity. However, I've seen it higher than that, 35 and sometimes 36 pence. So 30p, okay. At home you'd probably pay 15 pence. Commercial premises between 10 and 15 pence a kilowatt hour. So of course it's roughly double, but that's what you see on service stations when you up and down the country when you're buying petrol and diesel, of course. But it's quick. These are very rapid chargers, and this vehicle, we're going to put some power into it now, and just by the time you go off, grab a coffee, make a couple of phone calls, there'll be enough power popped into this to get you on to the next part of your journey. And of course this is not a motorway vehicle, but really is a brilliant little bit of kit for round town work. So when we initially plugged into this machine, it could sense how much charge this vehicle needed, and it was about 45 to 50 minutes I think on the screen. And 20 minutes later, I feel there's enough power in the vehicle for what I want. So you go onto your app and you push stop charging early, which is fine. Just ask you to do, is that what you want? Great, fine. And we've got a price of about £4.50 for the electric that we've used, but that's which is pretty reasonable, and certainly much more reasonable than you cover off the motorway trying to stretch it out. Now, push it in, push the button, disconnect, and all you need to do then is pull it out, put it back. Now, with our friends at Ecotricity, what they'll do then is they'll send you an email receipt. You can take that for your expenses, of course, or for your personal account. And it's as simple as that, really. You push the little button closed, you get back in your car, and you move on. Now, of course, it is much longer than dropping in and getting some petrol or getting some diesel. But of course, as we move further forward through the decade, and certainly into the next, the latter half of the decade we're in, this is going to be more the norm. There'll be far more places to charge a vehicle like this, and far more times where you're going to have to stop, take that break, and make sure you've got the power. So we've come to, I've come to the end of the day with our little Renault ZOE, and of course, remember the idea for me was to showcase this as a commercial vehicle. Of course, as we get that van onto fleet, we'll be able to do a bit more with it. I have to say, overall, really pleased with the vehicle. It showcases what's available now, and as Renault really moved into another platform with this kind of size of batteries on a small vehicle, I just think it's been great. You know, I think criticism for me, I wouldn't bother with the sat nav. You know, it isn't the greatest thing in the world. There are 1 or 2 bits and pieces on it, but overall, you know, they've done a really good job with this. And I think there's so many companies across the UK today, service vans with engineers and so forth and so on, that would really benefit from a commercial vehicle of this size. 400 kilos of payload, 200 miles of range, DC charging. I think probably the price we need to discuss, but in fairness, overall, you know, top job, really pleased with it. Hope you've enjoyed what we've managed to put together with you. Please subscribe, like if you can, and remember, everything we do is available on Contract Hire. But also, any questions you want, anything you want to talk about, we're more than happy to discuss that with you from the Pro Green team. And we'll see you again soon. Take care, guys.